ever since I started reading again in the beginning of 2025, I've also been buying quite a lot of physical books, like you can see behind me here. I promised myself that I should be reading more of my books before I go out and buy more books. And even though I've broken that rule so many times, I actually read 8 of my physical books in the last 2 months, and in today's video, I'm gonna share it all with you. Hi friend, my name is Sarah and welcome back to my channel. Let's just jump right into the very first book, and it was Love on Lexington Avenue by Layne. Layne is actually my comfort read, and it kind of got me out of my reading slump this last February. This book is part of a 3-book series about 3 women who live in New York who actually met under a very weird circumstance. They are all kind of related because of one guy, Braden Hayes. The first book was about Naomi, who was Braden's lover. This book, the second one, was about Claire, who was Braden's wife, and the third one is about Audrey, who was Braden's fiance. So they all met the day of Braden's funeral, and they kind of form a pact to keep each other accountable and not fall for a jerk like Braden. This book is about Claire, who was the wife of Braden. All of her life, she was basically branded as Braden's wife, but now that he passed away, she wants to rebrand herself, and one of the first things that she wants to do is to renovate the apartment that she used to share with Braden. Braden never really gave her a chance to do whatever she wants in the apartment, but now she wants her pink kitchen. She hired Scott Turner, who's the contractor, and he actually never accepted a small job like a house renovation because he usually worked for hotels and office buildings, but something about Claire and something about the apartment was pulling him in, and he said yes to this project. I rated this book a 3-star, and for me, a 3-star reading is a pretty solid and enjoyable book. So if you're interested in the story, the premise of this book, or the whole book series, make sure to pick it up the next time you're at a bookstore. I definitely want to pick up the 3rd book sometime soon because I am super curious about Audrey's story. The next book that I picked up was Better Than the Movies by Lynn. I actually got this book for $5 at Barnes & Noble because it was the Barnes & Noble Cafe book for January and I think February of 2025, and it has the sprayed edges, which is super cute. This book is about Liz and Wes, who have been neighbors ever since they could remember. Wes always pulled pranks on her, and I feel like that is one of the reasons why Liz does not really like Wes. However, on the first day of their senior year, Liz found that Michael, her old school crush from when she was younger, moved back into the neighborhood, and she had this idea of trying to get closer to him so they can go to prom together. She also realized that because Wes is pretty popular in school, he basically clicked right away to Michael, and Liz knew that if she wanted to be close to Michael, she has to go through Wes. So when Liz asked if Wes wanted to help her out, he of course said yes. And the more time that they spent together, the more Liz realized that Wes is not all bad and she's actually having fun with him. I actually was about to rate this book 3-star. However, I found out also around the time that I finished this book that there are 3 more kind of like short stories around the universe of Wes and Liz. I read them and I love it, so I bumped the rating for this book to 4-star. I actually already pre-ordered the special edition for Nothing Like the Movies. I think that's the 2nd installment in this universe. A lot of people are saying that it's not really a necessary read, but I just want to find out Wes's point of view when all of this is happening. I think it's going to be super cute, so I can't wait to get my hands on that book. The next book that I picked up is P.S. I Hate You by Connolly. This is also such a great read. I think I rated this 4-star. This book is about Maddie, whose brother Josh just passed away from cancer, and on the day of his funeral, they were reading the brother's will, and one of Josh's last wish is for Maddie to go to these 8 different places in the US to spread his ashes because he never got a chance to actually visit. And one of the conditions is for her to go on this trip with Dom, who is Josh's lifelong best friend. And the reason why Maddie was kind of hesitant about going with Dom is because Dom broke her heart when she was younger, and she just doesn't really want to go with him. The thing is, because she can't really argue with her brother, and it is her brother's like dying wish, she did it anyway. Of course, all of the old feelings came back. There's also like a couple different twists in this book that I never expected and I didn't see coming, so that's why I rated this book a 4-star. I would highly recommend it if you are interested in the premise. And Connolly is actually gonna have a new book coming out, I think in December of 2025, called Love in Plain Sight, and I cannot wait to read that book as well. So the next book that I picked up is one of the popular books back in 2020, and it was The Midnight Library by Haig. This book came out in 2020, I think during the pandemic, and I heard that it was so popular back then. I wasn't really reading much in 2020, but I again felt kind of left out that I haven't read this, so I picked it up, and this book was actually amazing. I thoroughly enjoyed the book. I think I rated this book 5-star. This book is about Nora, who was kind of tired of her life and was really giving up. So one night she took a bunch of sleeping pills, and when she woke up at this weird place called the Midnight Library. And inside this building there are a ton of books about her life, but not really about her current life. It's the possibilities of other lives that she can live in if she chooses to want to live in one of those lives. She was given the opportunity to kind of erase her regrets and live the life that she kind of wants and could imagine. And there are like a lot of choices. I also annotated this book like crazy because there's just a lot of like wisdom and quotes and just kind of like a life lesson, sort of, for me at least. And I also kind of tap out on the top. I don't know if you can see it because it's like with a clear-ish yellow tap, but I tap out all of the lives that she gets to live in this book, and I think there are about 10 of them. I just love how this book goes into alternate universe. I feel like that's a very popular theme nowadays in movies, in TV shows, and in books, so it's just kind of like an interesting take on that sort of possibilities that there might be a different version of me living elsewhere. The next book that I picked up is Starling House by Alix Harrow. This is actually my first gothic fantasy novel ever. I am actually a scaredy cat. I don't like listening, watching, or reading anything intense. I was kind of hesitant about picking this book up, but I already bought the book, might as well pick it up. This book is about Opal, who lives in this small town in Kentucky, and everybody who lives in this town believes that this town has been cursed because of the Starling house and because of who built it. The person who built it actually was a children's author named Eleanor Starling. She disappeared like some 100 years ago, and ever since then there's been new people, new couple, new family who became the heir of this Starling house. For some reason, Opal has been dreaming about this house, and it seems like she was being called into this house. She was curious about it, and at first I thought Starling house is like a haunted house where if you go inside you can never go out again, but actually that's not the case, because Opal was able to get a job at the Starling house to kind of manage the house and keep everything clean and stuff like that, and she was hired by the new heir, and his name was Arthur. And for my first gothic fantasy novel, I actually do love it. I think I rated this 4-star. I love how the ending was very odd, and I did not expect that ending at all. The build-up for the ending of the book was actually really good, keeps me curious, and I was reading this book until about 2 a.m. and because it was kind of like thrilling a little bit, my heart was pumping so fast and I could not sleep at all. So the next book that I'm going to talk about is the book that I picked up right after I closed this book out because I just needed something lighthearted. So the next book that I picked up right after Starling House is Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I just know that I had to pick up something lighthearted, something happy, something that doesn't really have too much like trauma in the story. I mean, I think there's still a little bit of trauma in here, but it's not as deep as the one that you can find in the Starling house. This book is about Nora, who is a literary agent who lives in New York, who has a little sister, Libby, and their lives are so different. Nora is single, Libby has 2 kids and married, and she is pregnant with her 3rd kid. And before Libby's life become even more chaotic, she wants to take one last sister getaway with Nora, and they decided to go to this small town called Sunshine Falls. They kept bumping into this one guy, Charlie, who actually Nora knows because he is a book editor, and they actually met up a couple years ago to work on a project together, but she was late and he did not like it. They just didn't end up working together, but for some reason they just kept bumping into each other at this small town. This is a book about a book, and I love that I got to learn a little things here and there about the publishing industry, which is super interesting, especially because I love to read books and I love to buy books, and I kind of keep an eye on what new books are coming out every Tuesday and stuff like that, so it was just really interesting. The next book that I picked up was Check and Mate by Hazelwood, and this is actually my first book that I've ever read from Hazelwood, and I can say that I truly love Hazelwood's writing and I cannot wait to read more of her books. This book is about Mallory, who was actually a chess prodigy when she was little. Something happened and she decided not wanting to have anything to do with chess anymore until one of her friends from high school asked her to help her out in a charity event where she would need to play chess. During the event, Mallory actually beat Nolan, who was the current world champion of chess, which is, I think, is crazy if you haven't played chess in a long time but you beat the #1 person in the world. Anyways, after that event, somebody approached her and asked her if she wants to join this chess league or group or something like that, and that person actually was offering Mallory a fellowship and she will get paid in a lot of money, obviously. And because she has to be the one who support her whole family, she did accept the job. Her mom actually has an illness that prevented her from getting a job and keeping a job, and she has 2 younger sisters who needs financial support still because they're still in school, and that's kind of like the main reasons why Mallory decided to go back into chess and to accept this fellowship that she was being offered to. I relate so much to Mallory because, again, she is the oldest, she has 2 younger sisters, and that is basically my life. I'm the oldest, I have 2 younger sisters that I take care of every now and then. I think I rated this book 4-star, and at about 10% of the book, I was ready to buy my own chess set and learn how to play. That is how good the book is, in my opinion. But anyways, let me know in the comment which Hazelwood's book I need to read next. Last but not least, I finally read The 7-Year Slip by Poston. I feel like this is everybody's favorite, and I kind of felt left out that I haven't read this book just yet, but I finally picked it up. This is about Clementine, who was super close to her aunt Analia, and when Analia passed away, Clementine inherited her apartment in New York. And when Clementine was growing up, she always remembers that her aunt would always say that this apartment is magical. It could actually bring you back to the past or even bring you to the future. The #1 rule that her aunt told her is to never fall in love in this apartment. And that exact thing happened to Clementine. She walked into her apartment and she was brought back 7 years to the past where she met Ewan. They spent some time together in an apartment, talk about, each other's story and stuff like that. In the beginning of the book, I was kind of predicting something would happen, and my prediction was right. I was kind of able to predict what's the ending gonna be or who's who, and even though it is pretty predictable, I think the story is still really good. I really enjoyed the book, like I said, and I cannot wait to read more of Poston's book. Let me know in the comment below if you have read this book, and let me know what other book of hers that I should read next. I always scan my book every time I bring 1 or 50 in the bookshelf, and I have about 200 something books so far, and I probably have read only about 15, so I have a long way to go. So make sure to follow me if you want to see how far I can get in my personal library by the end of the year.